Hello! So first I want to quickly show you what I've been pulling my hair out about. I'm trying to build a random car generator, so every time you click play, it randomizes, it gives you a new random car. And it's working, honestly, it's working okay. It's based off of the randomized shader nodes, which work alright, but also I'm trying to randomize all of these shape keys. But then once you have this, you can still duplicate, normally in the shape keys, or the shape keys won't randomize, but the shaders will. But I'm working hard to try to figure out how to get that all going. Unfortunately, I'm not particularly skilled at Python. I know nothing about Python whatsoever. But yeah, I'm excited about that. It's just been making my head hurt. It's, I don't know how anybody learns programming ever. It's insane. Hello, welcome to my mess. So this is the kind of sci-fi set that I've had set up here for a couple years. My friend Nate Taylor helped me build it. We were able to build the whole thing for like $300, and we've gotten so many different sets out of it. It's just a few cheapo theater flats and a bunch of random junk. We've got these kind of pipe bits here. This is obviously just PVC. And actually, I think it's kind of cool. There's an actual wall texture here, and that's because we covered the whole thing with joint compound, which is really cheap, and some of that cottage cheese ceiling spray. And so we did that for like kind of some dirty plaster walls that were going to be for an alley. But then I painted over it with this kind of beige color a couple weeks ago. And it just kind of reads as like a regular wall plaster, which I think is kind of cool. And I like the idea too of actually adding, years worth of layers of paint and stuff on top of this, because I feel like it's starting to actually feel as if it has years worth of age. Although I need to tear it down at some point because it's been occupying this entire half of the church for like, way too long. And I'm excited to there's like 9 different theater flats in here. This is an arched little cubby that if you look in Dynamo Dream, it's in the back of almost every scene. Though I tried to hide it. I've got different window pieces that I can stick over the top so you can't recognize this like kind of recognizable arched shape. 1 year earlier. All right, we're filming we're trying to reconfigure kind of the cyberpunk set to be a bunch of different stalls today. So this is the first one. It's an abundance of headphones, and I think somewhere we have a clerk. Oh, hello, sir.
Oh, hello.
I would like to buy your finest wares, please.
That's gonna be
They love it when you do this.
Pair of glasses.
Oh, they're so fine.
Welcome to the shop.
This is set number 2. It's a little tea shop type thing. I don't know. It's only gonna be in the final thing for a couple seconds, but it works good. I'm very happy with this fan. It's been all grunged up. We got a humidifier going. I love how it goes just straight up into the fan like that. We have a mirror here to make the whole thing feel as if conceivably it could be twice as long. I took a lot of photo scans and texture samples and stuff though, so that we can still like build other things in this style and blend other stuff in with the stuff we shot, which is really fun. Now it's pink. This pink paint is left over from Prospect. Actually, a lot of this stuff is from Prospect. Like including Nate. They did so good on all of their different props and things. It's absolutely bonkers. This is our third redo of the set today, and it's going pretty good.
Now over here we have some clouds, but we can change that, can't we? Yeah. Now over here we have some clouds, but we can change that, can't we? Yeah.
Drunkest Rachel, tell us a little bit about your character.
Well, I'm the drunkest of the Rachels.
I see. And when did you first realize that you were the drunkest Rachel?
Well, when I first saw a piece of paper with that on it, and then I realized it was just me.
Wait, is that actually the character that I wrote?
Yes.
That was the character name I wrote?
Yeah, it was.
Drunkest Rachel.
Drunkest Rachel.
Why would I?
There's also Drunk Rachel, Drunker Rachel, and Drunkest Rachel, and I just chose to be Drunkest Rachel.
Why did I name the character your sister's name?
I know.
That's why I've been confused. So yeah, we filmed our latest scene right here, and I was really happy. We filmed with a little bit of green screen right here, but in general, I just designed the digital extension so that it never overlapped where Caitlin was walking, which meant it was really easy and fairly quick to put it all together. Didn't have to deal with any of the keying process. And that's really my dream scenario for doing digital extensions is you can film all of your close-ups here, and you just get to use all of that raw footage. But just if you move the camera back a little bit, all you have to do is like track it and put in some of the digital elements, but you don't have to worry about rotoscoping or anything like that. So I thought maybe we could do an experiment like that today. Maybe not this example, but with like a phone booth or something. All right, and I filmed this clip that I thought would be kind of a fun test. Where here, let's see, we'll motion track it. Loading the clip. Set scene frames, prefetch. And we want to make sure that the frame rate matches up. A lot of people ask if we should be using an image sequence, and I think overall using an image sequence does make a lot of sense. The problem with using encoding like MP4 or whatever is that they have kind of keyframes, and then a lot of the compression is just telling those keyframes how to displace. Which means if you jump to a random frame, it has to go back, find the keyframe, reapply that compression to it so that it can get there, which means if you're just jumping around, it's like, all right, let me go back. It takes a while. But I think if you prefetch it, it loads it all into RAM, so it's all just there. So I don't know. I could be wrong about that, though. All right, we've got all of that. I'm going to go to the middle here, detect features, change the settings. I'm going to change this to like 100 and this to be like 0.05. 0.02. Hey, all right. Gonna delete all the ones on her or that she might overlap, although we can always clean that up later. Select everything. Whoa! Select everything and just hit track backwards. Whoa! It's so fast. And what I like about this method is there's a lot of points that are really solid tracking points that I just wouldn't I wouldn't have thought to use. Okay, and we get. Yeah, let's do another pass right here. I'm going to use D to draw an annotation, and I'm going to loop around this area, then go into detect features, and for placement, I'm just going to say outside annotation, and it'll only add them out here. Now I can select everything and continue to track forwards, and it looks like we lose all of them during this camera shake at the end, but I didn't want that part anyways, so maybe we'll just change this to be 275 frames. We could go in and babysit or expand the search area over here, so it can handle with shakes better, but all right. Can expand this, click on that, delete, X delete, X delete, just get rid of these bad ones. And under the solve tab, we're gonna give it our own keyframes, let's say 40 and 200, demonstrate the perspective move pretty well. So 40, 200, we're gonna have it refine everything. I don't know if we have to. Solve that motion. It's so fast. All right, pixel error of 6. So it looks at all of these 2D moving points, and it goes, all right, I'm gonna try to come up with a solution for what camera movement could justify all of these points moving this way relative to each other. And a pixel error solve of 6 means there's an average distance of 6 pixels away from where it would think those trackers should be given the solution it came up with, if that makes sense. The reason that can be so off is if you have a couple trackers here that are just like skirting along the top of a wall or going crazy, it'll be 1,000 pixels off and it averages that all in. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go into cleanup, and I'm going to clean the tracks, and anything that's further than like 5 pixels away from where it thinks they should be, I'm just going to delete those and try resolving. And this way it gets to do another solve without those outlier things we were just talking about. And now it's only, on average, 1 pixel away. So I might do the same thing here. Let's clean tracks, and let's do a reprojection of 2. Delete those. And once it gets under 1 pixel, we are good. So, all right, I'm going to set as background and set up tracking scene. Let's go into layout now and start cleaning everything up. The camera is doing the movement, but we can get our points back if we go over here. Motion tracking. These are all very big, so I might turn the size of those down. And now I just want to line this up with, yeah. And you can see where we have the wall here. In fact, if I rotate it like this, will they? Yeah, there we go. So I'll just line up this geometry with that. And there we go. Now we've got a plane lined up with our geometry here. I'm going to load our footage into this as an overlay. Actually, I'm going to load in a lower res version of the video. Right now it's using the original 4K video that's great for tracking, but not very responsive in the viewport. So I'm going to add my own, just open the smaller one. Let's see, give it enough frames, and this should all line up here. Yeah, that lines up great. Okay, but I actually don't care about all of this footage. I only want a little phone booth area around her. So I'm gonna add a plane here. And just line it up with all these points. The ground you can see is sloped, and that's true. It was a very uneven ground, so I'm just gonna follow that. And there we go. Is that about right? Go to wireframe. Here, we'll keep this vertical. Shrink it. Slide those over. Yeah, that's phone booth-esque. All right, now I want to use this material, or this video as a material on here, which requires a few steps, but it's nothing particularly complicated. New, we're gonna make it an emissive material using our video here. Smaller, yeah. And, oh, we have to unwrap this, so I'm gonna select everything and hit U, unwrap, and that gives it a UV map, which we can use. Right now, what's it doing? Is it doing anything? Yeah, right now it doesn't know how to apply the video on there. You'll also notice it doesn't play the video, so we gotta check auto refresh. Cool, all right. And I also feel like it should have more than 100 frames. Is that just a default thing? We'll make sure it has has enough frames. But right now it doesn't know how to apply this, so we actually want to project it straight from the camera. And we can do that with a UV project modifier. So go into the modifiers tab here, go to UV project. The UV map is going to be the one we just made when we unwrapped. The object that's projecting is going to be our camera here. And it doesn't line up. And the reason for that is it's projecting with the video's aspect ratio or something. Here, I'm also going to right-click, subdivide a few times to give it more geometry. But you can see this is the top of the video clip. So I'm just going to change the scale here, scale it down so that it lines up with our camera. Yeah, I think it projects square by default, so you just have to fix that. But now, look at that. That lines up great. And the best part is that, here, we'll get rid of these again. This will be the same no matter where we go. So we could just keep using this camera, or we could add our own camera that's kind of doing its own thing, and as long as we stay close to where the original one is, it should all still kind of work, you know? What I want to do is I want to stick her, here we'll create a little cube here, and I'm going to be doing this again in a second with a little bit more love, so I'm not going to stress about this, but we'll do this, yeah. Just trying to make a phone booth here. And double tap I to inset, Alt E, extrude along normals, faces, here we go. This is kind of that's a phone booth. Kind of. Dark. Stick it on a plane. Film transparent so we can't see the video. And yeah, there we go. Now we've put her in a, like this doesn't look particularly good, but we've put her in a little scene here. Turn up ambient lighting, I think. Alright, so there we go. We've put her in a scene, and if we model the rest of the scene to match, you know, add more grass and moss and all that, we could have her anywhere. The thing is, what I really like doing with the digital extension is having as much bleed between the two as possible. Like, if we had a light here that was shining down on her in real life and also bleeding out into the digital environment, that would do a ton for the integration. So I just filmed this here, and so maybe we'll try using this clip instead and giving something a little bit more effort. Also, this is a very big phone booth. Here I can just shrink it down, I can just scale it, and because it's projecting from the camera's point of view, it'll just keep working. Just kind of fun, as long as I've got it lined up more or less with these points here. So now she's in her very tiny phone booth. That feels a little bit more natural, I guess, maybe. One thing I like is, like, you'll notice here she goes off of the geometry, so I can just grab this and kind of stick it where she's at and model her where she would be, like, in the scene. And hey, look at that, there we go. And now she just kind of like, as long as you model it where the person actually is. You can animate it with shape keys, or adding it, hooking it to objects or whatever if it's animated. But that's a really easy way of kind of fixing up little glitches. You can see she's actually there. Like we add give her a head. But one thing you might be thinking is, all right, look at this. If all we're doing is normalizing the location, why are we even moving the camera at all? And it does make sense in certain ways. Like if you have a larger space with like stuff on shelves and things where the perspective should be changing, like her legs relative to that back wall there are definitely in 3D space. In fact, that's the part where it looks the most 3D. And if we're just using a static camera, you don't get that. But you do get a simpler workflow. So that's going to be what we're playing around with. Alright, so jumping back over into this shot, this is just what it looks like in the viewport. This is pre-composite. There's 2 different color spaces here. I shoot my footage in like a low contrast color space, so I have more dynamic range. And I think I tend to export out of Blender in a more linear color space. But I fix all that in the composite. But I like being able to project the video just straight into the scene like this, so it's actually lighting up the scene. So it means as she's moving around, she'll actually be in reflections and all of that stuff. In fact, I put more of that same video texture just around on the geometry here, so that it's just everything is lit with the same kind of values as the source video. And just inside the geometry of this video box here, I have a shadow catcher object, which, let's see, yeah, it's a shadow catcher, and it only shows up to the camera, which means it's not blocking any light from the video texture from hitting any of this stuff. And what's really cool, right now the video we're seeing is actually from the camera's background. So if I go and I turn off all of those overlays, you can see the shadow catcher object renders as alpha 0 except for the shadows, which, as always, are a little bit funky because shadow catcher objects kind of defy physics. And so what I have to do is with when this render's done, I just crunch the alpha values until I get rid of these cracks and things like that, and I only get kind of a little bit of a shadow all around. There's ways to optimize it, but trying to use a shadow catcher object for the inside of a room, it's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, but it still works just to give a little bit of that contact shadow. But that's the way I really like to do it. And this was so quick to set up because the camera also isn't even moving in 3D space. It was just a 2D tripod track, which is a lot more forgiving in the Blender tracker. Oh, and one of the big things I should point out is if you're trying to do a setup like this, and again, I don't know why I'm using this shot as an example, because it actually didn't turn out all that well. I feel like the light on her is a little bit too dim, and that kind of gizmo on the left there doesn't really incorporate it all. But regardless, one of the most important things is try to match up as many of your light sources as possible. Like I've got this light here, and I've tried to match it to the same color, and I have the softbox outside the window, and so I've set up just an area light right outside in the exact same space, and so everything should just kind of gel. And being able to dial things in Eevee is a big help. But yeah, that's one of the biggest tricks. Basically, if you're going for realism with compositing and you can use a path tracer and you have access to something that can render some kind of hefty scenes, just try to actually set everything up exactly how it was on set as much as you can. There's a bunch of wiggle room, but that's how you really get stuff to match. Let the path tracer simulate the physics the way that it wants to. She's not even there on the bed. I added her from a different take, from a different shoot day, because I wanted to do a couple pickup shots with Caitlin because the scene wasn't totally working, and it all just came together pretty well. Yeah. Actually, you know what? We're gonna keep going on this file. I made the other video and it was kind of fun, but it was just sticking a static video image on a plane, and that's not really digital extension. Whereas continuing this could actually kind of be an interesting situation. So let's keep going with that. I'm gonna use more than just this little bit here. I'm gonna pull these out and continue trying to match these points more or less. And let's see. Do this real quick, maybe line this up with the top of this wall. In fact, do we have some points here to show us where that is? Is that, what do you think? Yeah, that's probably about right. And I can always refine this later. In fact, let's snag this and see if we can kind of match this beam right here. Extrude it out. I love being able to work in 3D like this with a nice tracked tracked scene. It's working with a good track scene is literally the best thing. Not literally, but it's up there. Alright, pull this out. Cool. Add a little bit more geometry there. Okay, so now we have our scene, and instead of repeating here, I'm going to change this material to clip, so it doesn't have that nonsense kind of going on. And I could probably, at the end, I should probably throw on like a subdivision surface set to simple to just add more geometry there and smooth out the whole thing. But I might keep that off for now. Okay, so what could we... Ooh, I like that we're seeing off of right here. That's actually kind of cool. Here, maybe we'll do that. Delete these faces, and yeah, line this up with this seam here. Use that natural bit to kind of maybe have it blend. Actually, let's see. Let's have this go out like this, and now we just get to actually play with the actual like geometry. Like here, let's add a little bridge here. Yeah. And maybe we'll add like a little... We get to mix and match with the real stuff and the new fake stuff that we get to add. So, here, let's see. This will be like a little patio, I guess, or a little lookout type zone. And then if we line this up with, yeah, that... We'll bring this down, but we'll add like a little kind of railing here that'll help hide that seam. Do the same thing over here. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, let's hide that seam. Raise this up just a little bit. And again, if we turn up the Pixel 2 or whatever under the camera settings. Where is it? Is it in like a viewport display? Yeah, it will crop off that nonsense over there. Make it a little bit easier to see. You can see we really should add more geometry. If you ever get the squiggles here when you're doing a UV project thing, it just means you need more geometry, and that cleans the whole thing up. Okay, so we've got that. In fact, one of the big things I hate if you're doing a digital extension is having like a perfect split screen, like I do in that one shot where it's like, hey, what do you think the CG stuff is? It's like maybe everything to the left of that straight line. So let's fix this up like this. Yeah. And here we'll add a little ledge there so it doesn't just crop off. Oh. Actually, here, let's add it to this geometry so it doesn't have the video texture on it. And where are we? Alright. And I think I want to add... Ooh. Oh! We could extrude this out, you know, so it goes all the way, because we do have more video here now that we've pulled back. But I think I actually want to make this like just a weird little zone. Keep this kind of vibe going, as if it's just like a maze of... This is kind of like dream architecture for me. This is where all like places I dream about feel like. Just like weird mazes and kind of like just surreal landscapes and stuff. It's fun. I'm always like dreaming that these are in my backyard, and I'm like, why did I never notice this before? This is great! And immediately start trying to plan a film shoot. Okay, so there's that. We'll maybe add this similar. Yeah, maybe we turn this into like a quick little train station or something. It's a little weird that she's just standing here, but we can always add like a little phone booth. Like that's what it's supposed to look like, as if she was standing at a phone booth. Actually, I like it so that when I hit 1 on the numpad, I'm looking kind of into the scene from the camera's point of view. So I'm going to rotate all of this so that I can hit 1, and that for me means front. And it just means that like if I hit GX, I know which direction it's going to go instead of like, wait, which axis do I want? And there's actually, if you remember, we can use this to catch a shadow. So we could combine the emission shader with the shadow catcher and actually have the phone casting a shadow onto the wall, which would be pretty cool. Okay, let's yeah. This will be, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna spend a long time on modeling a phone booth here. I'm more interested in all the other stuff. But yeah, it gives her something to do. And over here, let's clean up this bit. Oh, this passepartout is now a little bit too intense, huh? Or is it just... Oh, the geometry was just right there hiding the line. Alright. And let's deal with this seam again just by reusing this little bit of geometry here. And maybe we'll make this something a little better in a bit. Okay, and let's add a tunnel here. As if like this is maybe a train station or something. Woo! Alright, just extrude that back, and let's see, we can select these, inset a little bit, extrude that down, and we'll just retexture all of this. Make it be what we want. So new material slot here. We'll call this, saving my file, cement, assign. Alright. Base color is going to be an image texture. We just load in any cement that we like. Well, it looks like a tunnel. All these look like tunnels. That one looks very tunnelish. Ooh, we should use this for... Yeah. This is going to work out good. Open the UV editor here. It's already got our cement there. Otherwise, we'd have to dig it out of this pull down here. Cube projection. And I'm just going to try to line this up a little bit and then hop over. And how's that? Whoa, that didn't work how I expected. Is there a... Huh. Oh, did I rotate the object? This may have... Okay, this has some rotation stuff going on it. If I hit Control A and apply the rotation and I try the cube projection again, does that... Okay, that gives me something a little more recognizable. That looks like that. No, it's still doing it. Is it just because the geometry is... I was expecting it to be square here. I'm not entirely sure why it's so diagonal. Because everything looks fairly... Is it just this? No. Well... I'll just select these back faces and we'll just work slowly. Okay, so if I expand this selection here... Oh! Somebody out there, probably most of you, are way ahead of me. The UV coordinates it's using are still the ones from the UV project modifier. So we have to add a new UV map. This is the one from the camera. I've never tried to do this. I've never tried to use two different UV maps when I'm projection mapping like this. It wouldn't have been a problem if I was using new geometry, but because I'm using the same object that's already, I've already got my video going on, it was finicky. And this will be custom stuff, and now I guess it's defaulted to custom stuff. So we go back into the modifiers and say use the one from the camera. Okay, but this will be using under the shader properties here. We say you are using, I don't know where it is here. We got to go into the shader editor. Go input UV map, and we tell it which one we want to use. The custom stuff. And now it works exactly as we expect. It's all square and everything like that. Uh-oh. And that's nice. I'm going to dissolve a couple of these. I might bring a little bit back later, but I want to be able to bevel this. So Control B, and let's do a nice little archway like that. Oh, that works great. I'm going to shade smooth, and under the, what is it called? Object data properties. Check auto smooth. Cool. Ooh, we actually have a lot more wall we could have out here. That's kind of nifty. So here, I'll pull this out. Let's create a little awning. Oh, I accidentally made a room or something. All right. Maybe we can add a little train sign or something if we want. Warning, the train is coming. Alright, and let's give all of this something a little bit more texture-ish. Alright, so new material, image texture, we're going to load in. What are we going to load in? I don't know yet. Something nice and train-ish. That kind of matches, I guess. This is one of the first textures I ever downloaded, like back in like 2006 or something. This is an oldie. Let's use it for nostalgia. Alright, so this one I should just be able to select everything and hit U, cube projection, and have it kind of work. I might scale it up though, so we're using more of this stuff. There's a little bit of sky in it, but it looks like, fortunately, we're just not using any of it, so... This bit here is ugly. Let's use that other bulkhead one. Bulkhead. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna add a little bit of water here, and it's actually gonna be reflecting the video and everything. I've always wanted to do that. Just as a quick aside, I've always wanted to shoot a video of a neighborhood, motion track it, get the point cloud, re-project onto the geometry that we modeled just like this, and then just add in like a water plane in there, and suddenly your neighborhood's underwater. I always thought that'd be really cool, fairly like rewarding, easy, straightforward project. I've just never done it, but you can do it if you've got the gumption. Somebody out there's got gumption. All right, concrete leaking. Yes, please. So here we go, and these don't. Okay, I guess they do match. All right, and if we cared, we could go through here and like add in these beams, you know. Let's see, I should be able to line this up. Yeah. All right. Bevel that, smooth it out a little bit. In fact, let's extrude that. Whoop. Extrude this in. Alright, and we take this and extrude it out, and let's grab this and this, because they're both flat. And if I can just grab this edge here, and I'll pull it out in each direction, and that way they're not grabbing the same row of pixels. And I guess it's kind of cheap to use the same board. Oh wait, no, we can just slide this over. Ha! Okay. And we'll be using a few different boards here. Just to add some nice variety. My dedication to variety is quickly dwindling. Oh. Do I have... what? Interesting. I must have done something horrible. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of fun. And maybe I guess we can just take this bit here and stick it over here. Oh yeah, this is kind of reminding me of the locks. We've got some locks in Seattle because we've got a big lake but connects to like an oceanic body type thing, and so they have this water leveling, lowering system, so the tides aren't always washing in and out of Seattle. And it's kind of cool, kind of fun to explore. Let's see, these textures here are bad. Let's fix those. Yeah, view, project from view. We'll just line them up with these bits here. Seem to look pretty good. Whenever you can line things up with actual kind of similar, you know, geometry, it looks like that bit right there actually works pretty good. This bit's whatever. But we can line up with this crack here. It's upside down. There we go. All right. And yeah, let's quickly add some water. So we'll add a plane. I'm just gonna do some quicko water here. Let's see, do we see it? I guess I need it pretty high, don't I? Here, let's create a little channel under here. I'm gonna use the bool tool, or actually, it might just be built into Blender at this point. But I'm gonna model the negative space I want under the bridge real quick. So I want a tunnel kind of like this. And then select these edges and bevel them to make kind of an arch. And then if I select this and shift click on the geometry and hit Control negative on the numpad because I have the bool tool add-on activated, look at that, it just eats away. And that's nice. Alright, so going back to the water, I'm gonna make it glossy. And turn down the roughness. And let's jump over into rendered mode real quick. See how this is looking. Ambient occlusion, sure. Bloom, no. Screen splice reflections, that's looking pretty good. If you want more accurate reflections for Eevee, you can always Shift A, go down to light probe and add a reflection plane. And I'm not entirely sure what it's specifically doing, but it does actually, for whatever's in this plane, you just have to line it up with our plane. Yeah, there we go. It adds more accurate reflections. Like, you can see the difference of where it is and where it isn't. Actually, it looks better where it isn't, but in general, it actually is a better option. Here, we'll add a little Musgrave to this. So add a Musgrave texture, throw it into the normal map. It's not going to do anything yet, but once we add a bump map here, plug it in the height, turn the distance down to like 0.1, turn up the scale, turn the strength way down. Let me turn up the detail. Turn up the detail. Oh, yeah, that's feeling. One of these days, I'll actually measure waves and know what it's all supposed to feel like. And okay, if we change this to 4D, we can animate the W value, and it'll look like water. So, add a keyframe. Change it, add another keyframe. If we want to see the keyframe, we have to have both the object and the node selected, and there we go. So I can hit Shift E, linear extrapolation, so it'll just keep doing that forever. That's too fast. I'm going to separate these keyframes. Whew, maybe a lot. The one thing I don't like about this method is the water does kind of have this like whoa, 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 whoa feeling to it. And I think if you didn't animate the W value and instead used a vector that was parented to an object or something, like if I hit Control T, I can tell it to use the texture coordinates from an object, so I could just use an empty and animate that instead. I feel like that gives a better solution sometimes, but this is still gonna work a-okay. Okay, so how are we feeling about this? Let's add a sky. All right, I'm gonna load in an environment texture and open up an HDRI. I got these from HDRI Haven, which is a great place for free HDRIs, and if you can support them financially, they definitely deserve it. Let's see, Mud Road, that could be good. I just kind of want something that matches the actual sky we had on the day. Under the render settings, I'm gonna uncheck transparent under film. Ooh, that's feeling kind of interesting here. Cool. So I'm not totally thrilled seeing, you know, all of this other stuff out that like we could just continue the water out, you know, and be like, you're in the middle of a lake. That's actually kind of surreal. Ha! All right. Yeah. You're in the middle of a lake. We might have to expand. I like it going to the horizon like this. What happens if we, let's see, inset this and just raise this up to the point where we want. Is that going to be weird if we shade it smooth? Nope, that works. That works right. I think now our waves are very big. I like them actually bigger like this, but let's still bring some of them back. Woo! They're going crazy. Turn the strength down. 0.05. And of course now we've got to slow these down even more. A little bit goes a very long ways. Wow, wow, wow. Well, okay, I may have made this water a little bit too big, but you get what I'm going for here. Want her to feel like she's in the middle of a lake. This is some dream stuff, you know? The further out stuff actually feels as if there's maybe a little bit of motion tracking imperfections going on. I'm not thrilled about that, but it could also be just the real-time playback in the viewport. Okay, so how can I want to break up this line a little bit, so I might create a little like drain pipe. Like, yeah, let's create a little like a gutter type thing. Alright, here we go. Here, pull this out, delete the top face. I'm gonna add a couple edge loops here with Control R and just like scale it up, add another one and bring it down. Just something to, anytime you can break up straight line, it's gonna do you favors. Unless if you're like, I don't know, an architectural pre-visualizer and they're like, why did you make our new office building look incredibly janky? And you're like, well, I was trying to add realism, you know, really make it feel like old and lived in. And they're like, you're fired. Nobody wants to work in this old lived in office building. Actually, I was reading Bill Pete's autobiography, I think it was, and yeah, he worked for Disney back in the olden days, and they used to all work in like a barn, like this old kind of like random, I don't know, community college or something area, and then they got money because they were Disney, you know, as Disney does, and they got this brand new studio, and they all hated it. They were like, this is, we kind of liked our old moldy building a little bit. It had character, inspired creativity, not that, you know, not to like perpetuate the glamour of the suffering artist or whatever, but there is something to not always being in big, you get what I'm saying. I would rather work in a cool barn than an office building, I suppose, if it were warm enough. Heck, I do work in a barn. No. I mean, it could be. This is the state I've mentioned before where Caitlin is like, Ian, you just feel like you have to be talking, and that's when you say stuff that you don't need to be saying. I guess that's true. I was just in the pipe modeling zone. Okay, so we made our little drainage pipe, and if we go back in rendering mode, oh, see, that feels a little better. In fact, if we imply there's more beyond this wall by adding like a, I don't know, air conditioning cube or something. Oops. Added it to, yes, there we go. Yeah, that adds quite a bit. And I'm still setting this up to ideally be like rendered with cycles. It just isn't right now. Here, let's add a train track. Let's see, I'm gonna just model like one section of a train track here. Duplicate it. And then we'll add some of those nice little cross beams, which are actually like huge. Railroad ties are massive, man. I think these are probably, I don't know, not good. But it'll be a space. It's a space train, so we're fine. In fact, we don't have all that much to we have to do with this, so I might just grab all of these end pieces. Well, I feel like I should just be able to grab are there no faces here? Why can't I see the little boxes? Does anyone know why I can't see the little boxes? Oh well, that's okay. We'll just extrude, and then we'll just extrude. And now if we go to face select, no, it keeps selecting faces. I wouldn't. Interesting. Well, that's okay. We'll make this like a metal color. Woo, and dark. And we'll create an array. It's always going to be on the wrong axis, just because, you know, keep you on your toes. Okay, let's make a dream train. Everybody knows the dream trains are just big cement cubes. It's the law. Alright, new image texture. I've basically done the digital extension part. This is just the we're having fun doing a thing part, right? Like, we're all on the same page for that? Okay, good. Because it is fun to just do a thing, I think. Here, we'll apply the scale. Cube projection. Huh. Oh, look at that. That actually looks like a train. Because it's a picture of a train. Crazy how that works out, isn't it? Okay, and I've actually modeled so many train wheels and things that I could just bring in right now, but I think I kind of like just our weird cube train. Whoa! That's what I get for trying to go too fast. Yeah. All right. So, oh, it's too fat. Okay. So, here she is. She's like, "Where's the next train?" And they're like, "It's coming, ma'am. Don't worry about it. Why are you freaking out?" She's like, "Okay, just I hope it doesn't leave me behind again." And then there it goes. Linear extrapolation. Whoa! Oh, that's cool. All right, let's add a bunch more of these train cars here. Oh, sir, I believe the train's leaving me behind again. I need to stop doing that as my my go-to lady voice, because I just do that without thinking. But I guess, I don't know, that's not, maybe you shouldn't do that. It's a habit. It used to be in Blender 2.7 that you would just hit Z and you toggle between solid and wireframe, and you hit Alt Z if you want to go into a rendered mode. But now there's all these overlays and things that it's just one too many options for me to really be able to keep track of what's happening, like muscle memory wise. And so sometimes I just can't get it totally right, and that's actually, frankly, a little bit frustrating. But ooh, let's bring in the new antenna asset, append. Patreon antennas too? Antennas asset, yes. Collection antennas. Oh yeah. We'll just stick these up here by hand because it takes 2 seconds. Why are there all these TV antennas? It's because these people live in limbo. They were dead all along. You guys, I promise that this isn't limbo. 4 seasons later! You guys, okay, it might actually be a limbo. Okay, and let's see how... And this is where, if I wanted, I could start bringing in all my other assets. Like, I've got rock assets I could use to kind of develop a shoreline here. I've got all of the different pipe assets and street assets I could use for all of that. We could add a little railing, I suppose, before we call it done. Here, Alt-H, bring all that stuff back. Yeah, let's just select these edges here and see if we can make like just a sloppy little railing. We will do it for back there as well. So Shift D, extrude. This will be the base of the railing. Extrude. This will be like, okay, let's line it up. I think railings go to basically just hip height, which I always thought was kind of short when I was in a skyscraper and leaning over the side. You will add in a couple extra bits for like a railing. Adding in some more vertical beams here. Just kind of want everything equidistant. My name's Ian. I whip out words like equidistant. Like, that's cool. It isn't to say you do that. That's really weird. Yeah. I realized that moments too late. Okay, so we could just go in here and, oh, here, let's, I guess we gotta reselect all. I should have separated this selection before I did all of this. But, alright, P, separate selection so we can apply a modifier only these bits. And we don't need the bool tool anymore. We do want a wireframe modifier. Turn up the thickness. Let's see. I'm going to add a little crossbeam here. I think we're going to try to do something kind of cute with. Okay, so just Shift, Alt, click on all of these edge loops. Oh, that's a little too high. Maybe I'll ignore that one. I don't even think we see it. And let's see. I made a whole tutorial about this. I think it was Control Alt Shift B. Yes, Control Shift B. Does one have to be selected? What? Control Shift B. Okay, it was Control Shift B, you guys. I figured it out. Hit P to change the profile. I want to make them circular-ish. Or let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, that's fine. every time I come up with like a kind of a lazy way to do something, I use it a lot, and then I start to hate the look of it like so quick. I'm like, yeah, that looks exactly like what it is. Like I should have put actual effort in. But it works fine for right now. So, do you guys hate this as much as I? Yeah, this doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. I want to be able to see the lake. I guess I could just turn down the thickness a little bit, but and change it to a lighter gray so it matches the valleys. So one thing that's kind of weird about all of this, and this is a thing that if I were doing a compositing pass wouldn't matter at all, but because I'm doing this all in viewport, it looks a little bit weird. And this is all in a fairly linear space, but the footage was filmed in a logarithmic, low contrast space. But we can fix that really easily in the shader editor, really easily if we do it incorrectly. So here's our video texture here, going straight into the emission shader. I'm gonna just plug in a little, should I just do brightness and contrast? I'll do RGB curves. Oh, apparently I'll do a mix. RGB curves. Bring that down. Ooh, it's already feeling a little better. And we can actually do a little bit of color correction just right there. That's feeling pretty good. Ooh, I should give these some sort of metal texture. Open textures. What are we looking for? I don't know. Cube projection. There we go. It says something. And here, let me turn on the. Actually, let's see what this looks like with cycles. Change it to GPU, and you guys will suddenly appreciate why I haven't working cycles all along, as my computer goes. Eh! But yeah, we could add a lot of. This water suddenly looks a little bit too intense. I think I might have the detail up too high. Yeah, that's feeling a little bit better. And let's try adding some fog right now. Where's that train go? Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna go cube, stick it kind of over the whole scene area. Yeah. Give it a new material, which makes your GeForce Game Ready driver become available. No, it doesn't. Delete the principled shader. We're just gonna add a principled volumetric. Yes. Plug that into the volume, and look at that. That's so volumetric. Apply the scale. Ooh, it's dark. It's very dark. Turn the density down to 0.1. Let's see. So what direction is the light hitting her? It really is very ambient. Like I could go in, especially because like we can imply she's standing in a shadow. Here, let me hide the volumetrics for a second. And oh wait, no, this won't affect the video. So, like I could go in and add this, which would add a sunlight to, a lot of the geometry, which honestly kind of works. Like for right here, it kind of looks like this just doesn't catch any light, which is how I like to work. Just kind of make it work so it all plays nice. But in fact, let's see what that does if we turn the volumetrics back on. Volumetrics are rarely a good idea. Straight up, because just the render time has become absolutely incredible, which is why, and a lot of times instead of this, I like to use an emission shader, plug that into the volume. You have to turn it like, oh, actually, what? Interesting. I feel like I'm not seeing it from the inside. I don't feel like figuring out why that is right now, but that gives you kind of a nice, ties everything together too. We can use color management, turn this to like high contrast. Yeah, turn the exposure down. We can even do a little color correction here. I think use curves. Let's make it sci-fi, which means green. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, that's right, I'm still in cycles. Here, let's jump back into Eevee. It should still work. Is this still volumetrics? It's always weird. I keep it. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that water train. That's so cool. Here, let's see. Let's increase the array. Can we see that in this shot? I mean, I guess we could get rid of this railing here. I never did like it. We'll add another another train in the distance. Yeah, we'll add a track out here. And just add like a little support post. Okay. And let's see, I'll use the same animation, which means I can just stick this out here and they'll both move together, which means, let's see. Ooh. The bloom is maybe a bit much, but at the same time, I'm not going to get rid of it. Well, all right. I'm happier with this than the old one. This one kind of captures the imagination slightly more than a static video of a phone booth. Even if I did get to model a little spaceship thing. Yeah, look at this ugly railing. This is, you guys, I'm not making railings like this anymore. No, I probably will. They're really good for wide shots. They're just not. Here, if I had a bevel, does it crash? Does it make it better? Let's not go that far. Under a profile or geometry. Don't clamp the overlap. Let me have my mistakes. Here, we'll just turn this down. Let's see. That bit's a little weird. I wonder if we can just fix the normals with Shift-N. If you select everything and hit Shift-N, that pops all the normals so they're all facing the same size so you don't get twists and stuff like that. If that's a thing you've probably fixed normals before. And with that, I'm going to say that we are done, that we have made something that maybe we're not proud of it, but it is definitely something extant. Where'd my haze go? Oh, it's just there. Okay, so I'm going to animate this haze so like the camera's always outside of it so that we can always see it. But it's just in front of the camera, so that might help a little bit. Yeah. All right. So here's our final shot. That water is a joke, but and also, yeah, I guess I didn't get this this track quite as clean as I would have hoped, but kind of feels like a 2005 video game. All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.